Hi everyone, I'm just going to be going through some of the Poomsae scoring for some of you that are looking to do your first Poomsae competition, or you already do competitions and you're just looking for more information on how you're scored. So as you can see, your pattern is scored based on the number 10. So out of 10 is your mark. As you can see, it's split up into two parts. We have our accuracy and our presentation on this side. So we'll start off with the accuracy first. So your accuracy, it's actually scored from a 4. So from the number 4, you're actually marked during your presentation of your pattern. And then with that one, any mistakes that you make, if it's a minor mistake, you get minus of a 0.1. If it's a major mistake, you get minus 0.3. So I'll just let you guys know about the difference between the two. So with a minor mistake, it's very, very small thing. So say we're doing a outer block. If it's not your shoulder height, maybe it's a little bit lower, or maybe it's a tiny bit higher, that's a minor mistake. So that's a 0.1. A major mistake would be you're supposed to do an outer block in the pattern, but you forget and you say you do a ridge hand strike instead. So that would be a major mistake. So with a minor mistake, let's say pattern 1, for example, there's 20 steps. It's not uncommon to have up to maybe 14, 15 mistakes in the 20 the 20 steps. So the reason for that one being, it needs to be absolutely perfect to get to not get a deduction of 0.1. So it's not uncommon, let's say there's 20 steps and you made, let's say 15 mistakes. So what would that be? So we'll leave that there on this side, and we'll come back and we'll just calculate the score at the end. So major mistake, say you're supposed to turn to the left, but you turn to the right, that would be a major mistake. So obviously we do want to try and avoid any of these major mistakes. So after we've done our pattern, that's when we move on to the presentation side. So the presentation, as you can see, it's from a score of 6. This 6 is actually split up into 3 parts. So we have 1, 2, 3 here. So with this one, for a score of 2 is your power and speed. Your rhythm is also a score of 2, and your expression of energy is also scored out of 2 as well. So we'll start off with the power and speed. So with this one, whether it's your blocks, your kicks, your strikes, your punches, anything that you do, it needs to be nice and strong, and it has to be fast as well. So it's one thing to have a very strong punch or a very fast punch, but it has to be both strong and fast to get high in that category. The next part is your rhythm. So the rhythm, when you do start your pattern, there is a rhythm to the pattern. It's not just really fast all the way through. It's not slow all the way through. There's a slow, fast kind of aspect to it as well. So you do need to kind of work on your rhythm, and that's also scored out of 2. The last bit is your expression of energy. So what is expression of energy? So that's basically how loud you shout, so how much intensity you have during your pattern as well. So say you're doing your pattern really well, it's really fast and it's strong, your rhythm is really great, but you're not shouting very loud, or you can kind of tell, the judges can kind of tell, oh, you're not really confident, you're a little bit nervous, so that's what we need to kind of improve on as well. So I'll just come around to this side. So with this one, for color belts and black belts, it's actually scored a little bit differently. So if you're a color belt, you'll actually, your average, so where the judges actually mark you from, it's actually from a 1.1. So this is your average. So say you did all right, you did average compared to everyone else, your score for 1, 2, and 3, it'll start from a 1.1. So if you're less than average in the judge's eyes, you might go down to, say for your power and speed, you might get a 1 or even a 0.9. If you did really great, you might even get a 1.3 or a 1.4. So each individual category, you need to obviously get as high as you can. If you're a black belt, generally, depending on the competition, you will be scored from a 1.3. So 1.3 would be your average that you start from. So say your power and speed was above average, you might get scored a 1.3 let's say 1.4 for now. Say your rhythm was only about average, it wasn't amazing, it might be just a 1.3, but let's say you didn't shout very loud, so your expression of energy, your average was 1.3, it might drop to say, let's say 1.0. So with this one, we'll come over down to this side. So with this one, as I was saying, it's a total of 10. So let's see. So for presentation, we had 0.7, 1, 2, 3. So you had a 3.7. Let's say you made the 15 mistakes. So with this one, obviously, don't be too discouraged if you do get pretty high in your mistakes. This is with the judges. We have 3 judges usually at the panel, and each judge, obviously, it's very subjective. So from their point of view, you might have made a lot of mistakes, or you may have made not a lot of mistakes as well. So that's why we have the 3 judges, and we average it out as well. Okay, so say we did our 15 mistakes, very small mistakes. So if they're all minus 0.1, you'd be 1.5. So you go 4.0 minus 1.5, which equals 2.5. So this would be your accuracy score. So with our presentation like before, we were saying we got a 3.7 here. So we add these numbers at the after the judges finish scoring. So you would get, for this pattern, a 6.2, which is actually very good. So I'll just talk about a little bit more now about this number here. So if you're a color belt, if you're a yellow or above and you do your patterns, it's not uncommon. Generally for a color belt, the average is about a 4 to 5. So if you get a number between 4 and 5 out of 10 for your pattern, that's actually generally considered pretty good. So anything above that, you could consider yourself pretty good. If you're a black belt, the average would say, because we're talking here about the higher presentation as an average, anything from 5 to 6 is actually considered pretty good, and anything over a 7 is actually considered almost world class. So if you get a 7 for any of your patterns, you generally need to pat yourself on the back because you did an amazing job. So we just went through our Poomsae scoring. So just remember, accuracy is a 4.0, presentation is a 6.0. Accuracy is judged during your pattern, presentation is after, and then we get the 2 scores that we add up, and we get that number. So with this one, obviously, say I was judge number 1, I would give you a 6.2. There was another judge on the other side, maybe he saw a couple more mistakes than I did, so maybe this one would be a little bit lower, it might be a 5 point something. Another judge on the other side, they scored a little bit higher, so we'd get the 3 numbers and then we'd average that as well. So I hope this helped you guys. So make sure you enjoy your Poomsae competitions, and anytime, make sure obviously you record down your numbers as well. So it's very important to keep track of your numbers and to see if you're improving overall as well.